Now, what if there were some magic words to help you save your job? Assistant Professor Lynn Wu from the University of Pennsylvania found talking about social topics with colleagues can affect job security. She conducted the study at a consulting firm and found those that emailed about idle topics like meals and sports were more likely to keep their jobs. The 4 words most used: lunch, coffee, football, and baseball. Professor Wu spoke about her study with our Philip Yin.
It could be, dinner, it could be Broadway shows, or any kind of a social activity. It just happened in this firm that I was studying that sports was one of the biggest, social communication. But obviously in other firms, different type of social communication, different type of social topics would dominate.
Yeah. Now, one of the criticisms is that those 4 words, at least 2 of them, are much more sports related. So that's going to appeal more towards men rather than women. So there's, I guess, inherent bias in there. I mean, is that your conclusion as well?
Well, actually, what I found is that women do not necessarily talk less about social communication topics. It's probably true that some women talk less about sports, but it doesn't mean you need to be an expert in sports or keep up all the games and statistics to talk about sports. You can just talk generically about sports and just show interest about the topic and then to have a conversation. It's really about social bonding, it's about socializing that makes it work. And, whether it's sports or some other topics, where you could have lunch together, you could have coffee together, or that's okay. And even if sports is a big thing, it's really not that difficult to pick up sports topics. For example, NFL fans, I think recent statistics shown that more than 40% of the fans are women. So women are talking about sports. So I think it's not necessarily mean that women don't talk about sports, but I think women are beginning to talk about sports as well.
Now,
and if you don't, it's good to learn about it too.
One thing I noticed that's not on sort of the stuff that we've been reading is there's no talk about work. There's no emailing you, there's no CCing you, there's no BCCing you, there's none of the work-related stuff. Is that something that, in general, when you're talking to other coworkers, should you stay away from talking about work 24/7?
Oh, I think work-related topics matter tremendously in your work performance. I'm not saying they don't matter. They matter. Just social communication matters a lot too. One of the part of study is that information diversity. How much information you are able to obtain and quickly on others has to give you an edge up in your work performance. And obviously, if you are a really good superstar performer, you will be able to retain your job and get promoted.
So I'm sort of redacting this down a bit, but it's basically just having friends in the office and people you get along with, and you can talk about whether it's work or social life. Now, the social media is very interesting because I'm sure you have this as well, but you'll have a lot of coworkers that want to add you on the social media, whether it's Facebook or LinkedIn or any other platform, and they'll want to chit-chat with you after hours. Is that something you should be doing? I mean, assuming that you want to keep your job or just have a good relationship with your coworkers?
I think it doesn't hurt, and often it's not the person who directly, communicates with you socially that matter the most. It's what they talk others about you. Often, a promotion and layoffs it's not necessarily that your friends are in the room. It's maybe your friends talk about you. You're a really nice person. You're really good at ABC, and then that's conveyed through word of mouth to others, and maybe to a decision maker. And at the room, when people are discussing your performance, discussing your career trajectories, and they'll say, oh, this person has done really good work. Maybe he hasn't directly shown on his, performance evaluations, but I personally know he's instrumental for having these efforts, created, having his efforts built successfully, and that's a really big deal. Yeah. So social communication is really not just about, having good environment, but also having these referrals who can advocate for you at the key junctions.
Well, and that leads me to how buddy and cozy up should you be with the managers and the bosses of an organization. Now, I have been told 2 different things. One is don't talk to the bosses, stay away from all of them. And I'm generalizing here, but it's just do your job. Mm-hmm. And then I've also heard the other part where you want to make friends with the bosses. You want to make friends with the senior folks who are making important decisions. Is there a happy medium, or is there one that's right or not right?
I think it's definitely important to know more about your boss. Maybe You don't necessarily, I mean, obviously it's a professional relationship, but it doesn't hurt to have coffee or have lunch with your boss every once in a while. And a lot of the important information are actually passed through water cooler conversation, just down the hallway on the way to grab coffee. And those are the really important things.
How about things you should do that you should not do ever in the office? Things you should not talk about in the office among colleagues, things that make your colleagues angry or your bosses angry. What are the top 2 or 3 things that you can think of that you came across?
I think political controversy could be a big one. Politics, I think at least in my personal or in the setting of study can drive controversy, can drive divisions, and those are topics you probably should stay away.